at Phil and Debbie's house in Castle Shannon, and we're taking a look, a little tour around their garden here. So let's get started. So here at the entrance we have this hydrangea tree and the fence with this arbor here. How long's the arbor been here with the clematis?
Actually, probably about 15 years. I just put autumn clematis on this one side, and that's what's on the fence behind the bench too, because that's really nice. It blooms in late August. So it's one of the last summer things that bloom, but there's actually 3 different flower types on that arbor.
Okay. Yeah, that is a nice one to have later in the season for some color. So it's a nice entrance here to your beautiful walkway that you have. Tell us about some of these plants that you have here.
This is a Mona Lisa, which gets a little pink flower in the spring, that variegated bush shrub. And that's honiki, I think is the way you pronounce it. And I actually thought that was going to get a little bigger, but it's been that size for 8 years. So
oh wow.
It's a dwarf, but I still thought it would grow a little bit more. And then that's a perennial hibiscus. It hasn't bloomed yet, but that's another one that's a late summer bloomer. So I try to do things that start in the spring, and every month something different to look forward to.
Right. The hibiscus has a lot of nice blooms on it. It looks like it's the one that gets the darker foliage on it.
Yeah,
the leaves
comes
are starting
out a little
to turn
white, and then it tinges pink on the edges, and they're really huge. They're probably 10-inch flowers.
Nice.
Like the size of dinner plates.
Yeah, I love the variegation of this Weigela next to the coral bells too. I just think that's a nice contrast with the dark leaf of the coral bells. Really pretty.
This is a boulevard cypress that's a columnar tree, getting a little wide, but we try to pick as many narrow things as we can get in and still have some screen and some shade too for different things.
Right. That looks like it's been there a while.
8 years.
Huh.
And we brought it home in our car, so it wasn't that big.
Nice.
When we put it in. It's been a good couple years for trees because we've had so much rain.
And that's all the autumn clematis on that fence?
Mm-hmm.
That's got to be gorgeous.
2 plants, actually. One this end, one that end, and then I just draped them together.
And you said this is a double flowering daylily?
Yes, it's a real nice double flower orange. That was a gift from my neighbor across the street who was dividing some of hers. And I have a variety of oranges and yellows back here, and that's what the cone flowers are, oranges and yellows too. And then in the front I have yellows and pinks.
Okay, got a nice color theme going on here. This is really cute right here. That's like a dwarf conifer too.
Yes, it is. And fire spray, I believe is the name.
Yeah, the fern spray, I think.
Fern spray,
yeah,
yes.
I love that fine texture of the leaves.
And originally we had that in the back, and it got too shady back there, and so I just transplanted that about 2 years ago too. I'm constantly moving things to find their happy place. So it's doing a lot better here than it was back there.
Right, so the right plant for the right place, that's a good lesson. It's not, don't be afraid to move things around if you see they're not doing good.
And that scary little rock, my husband thinks looks like a turtle, so he put eyes on it.
Love it, nice little addition there.
And then under the deck here, we did a lot of different varieties of hostas and Japanese ferns and regular ferns. There's one under there called Mammoth, which is kind of an unusual variety that gets 4 feet wide when it's full grown. And they actually need to be divided probably next spring.
It's a pretty bird bath.
Thank
Weeping
you.
cherry tree.
Yeah, this is a weeping cherry, and actually we just put that in 2 years ago. We had a columnar pine here, long needle, soft needle white pine, for 4 or 5 years. It was beautiful, and then one summer it turned orange. I took it to different places, and no one would ever, we didn't know what happened to it.
Couldn't figure it out.
Yeah, no one, I mean, people had different suggestions. I hated losing it. It was a nice complement to this because it was a real nice light green. But we put this in again so we'd have some flowers in the spring.
How about the vase? Where'd that come from? Did you paint that?
Yeah, Phil found that at resale, and then it had sort of different colored flowers on it that didn't match. So yeah, I painted over.
That's what I asked, since you said that you were a former art teacher. So thought maybe, so that's neat. Your unique touches of little pieces of art and unique shapes of rocks.
Yeah, there's
that you've
actually
added in.
A sculpted rooster up there that's from my art school days. And there's different little things that we use. Like I said, we build all the gates and fences. And, sometimes out of financial concerns because it's so expensive to get anybody to build anything. But we actually like doing it.
So this is the over 45-year-old azalea bush.
Yeah, so
Never seen an azalea that big.
I can't tell you what species it is.
You'll have to email me the picture of when it's in
Yeah, I
bloom.
will. I'll find one because I know I have
It's huge.
some. Gorgeous pink flowers, covered, and it actually just keeps growing. I don't know. It's 15 feet tall now.
It's a survivor.
Yes, it's been here for over 45 years because it was here when we bought the house.
Very cool.
And then this is the Veggie Garden, and it's basically just what they call a pizza garden, tomatoes and peppers. My husband likes stuffing peppers. We freeze those. I do cherry tomatoes. I freeze those. I don't like growing things that I can't freeze because there's only the two of us and we don't consume that much, and the neighbors get tired of us dropping zucchini off. But there's cucumber, zucchini, and I try one or two new things every year. I tried carrots this year that they didn't grow, and snow peas, and they're growing well, but I never have grown those before, so I'm interested to see how they taste.
So you tried something new.
I like to put one new thing in, yeah, just to see how it goes.
I think that's a good gardening wisdom there, like not to overplant your vegetable garden, because I think beginners tend to make that mistake. They don't realize how much space plants need and how much can you really eat. So you have to think about that when you're planting your garden. So you have the plants have a lot of nice space here, and you're not having to pick so much that you're giving it all away and throwing it away.
Well, that's a really good point, because we did used to overplant it. When you have a small lot, you're always overplanting everything, really. But we're getting better at it, and every year is a learning experience, because one year you think you have it down, and then the weather changes, the plants change. I do we mulch it now with newspaper with grass on top of it, and that was really has kept the weeding down.
I was going to say, it's very neat.
It's just newspaper with. When my husband cuts the grass, he puts the grass on top of it so it doesn't blow away. And that was the hardest thing, was keeping it weeded.
Newspaper as preventing weeds is a great tip. We've done that before in the front beds of the greenhouse before. Just put a nice thick layer of newspaper down and then cover that with your compost or your topsoil. That really helps prevent the weeds, and it's biodegradable, so much better than landscape fabric.
Yeah, we tried a couple different things. We tried hay one year, and that was a disaster. It actually grew hay. It grew weeds.
Yeah, I love the decorative touches on your vegetable garden too. The gate with the unique sun ornament there. And is that the rooster that you made that rooster in there?
Not that one. There's a little sculpted one over there underneath the azalea.
So you can dress up the vegetable garden a little bit. Doesn't have to be boring, right? Got this
that's what the wind spinner was.
Yeah, the wind spinner.
That's actually a new addition from last year. We got that.
I love those. So this is a nice walkway that you guys put in yourself here too.
Yeah, and we put it's July, so it doesn't look real great. It looks good in the spring. Scottish moss in between the bricks, which I love that look. It's kind of an old English garden look. And these are several different kinds of cone flowers and chrysanthemums, and we stick some perennials in. I like to stick with tried and true things out here because it's so hot next to the street, so it's just petunias and some African daisies. And then it gets real shady the further you go back, so that's where the ferns and hostas again. I have a bleeding heart that's really nice in the spring in front of the fence, but that's fading at this point, right?
Yeah, they're beautiful, like one of the first flowering perennials in the spring.
Yeah, that's what you ask on the question of what I like the best, and the bulbs are what I like the best.
I
because
saw that,
I can't wait to see the daffodils come up in the spring. I love that. So there's daffodils and like 3 or 4 different kinds of spring bulbs that are in here too. And they're my favorite because by the end of February, you're dying for anything that looks alive.
Yeah. In the birch tree, how long's the birch tree been there?
Probably about 30 years. Like I said, I had a rhododendron there, and that sort of got out of hand. So when we took that down, I thought, oh, this is sort of a dark corner. It'd be nice. I always loved the white bark on birches. I didn't expect it to get that big. And at that time, we didn't know how long we were actually going to be in this house. But this tree also is relatively new. We put this in about 10 years ago. Phil likes dark leaf things, so you'll see a lot of burgundy corabellas and you know, this. I actually made a mistake and bought a red maple and put it in the back, thinking that a red maple had red leaves. I didn't realize. And these are the mistakes you make when you're a beginner. That a red maple only has red stems, that it's a crimson maple that has the red leaves. So live and learn.
Debbie, thank you so much, and Phil, for having us over to your beautiful home, and we really admire all of your hard work here.
Well, thanks for coming.